Good morning, this is Professor Elliott, and this is a brief tutorial lesson on SI units. Okay, this is the SI units chart, which I'm sure you've seen in high school or somewhere previously in your educational life. Right in the center of the chart is deca, which is simply the base unit. So if you were talking distance, meters would be the base unit, and then going up to kilo, and then mega would be kilometers, and I guess megameters, and going down would be millimeters and micrometers. So the units I've highlighted there in blue on the left. So that would be here. I'll get my pen to work, sorry. Right here and right here. So those, for electrical units, those are the main prefixes that we're going to use. And so you can see that when you go from one to the other, you're going up by powers of 3. So when you go from the base unit, so let's say the base unit was volts, then to go to the next larger unit, that would be kilovolts, move the decimal 3 places, and to go up to megavolts, that would be 10 to the 6, move another 3 places. And then if you're going down, millivolts, 3 places, and microvolts, another 3 places. So when you're going from a base unit to a smaller unit, there has to be more of them. You can't change the quantity, but there has to be more of them, so you move the decimal to the right. And when you're going from the base unit to a larger unit, the number has to get smaller, so you move the number to the left. Okay, so by changing the going from one unit or prefix to the other, you can't actually change the quantity. You're just sort of moving the decimal place left and right, which is what I've tried to illustrate over here. Okay, just some conversion examples. So here we're going from milliamperes to amperes. So we're going from a small unit to a larger unit. So therefore, we have to shift the decimal point to the left 3 places. So 100 milliamps in amperes, you go 1, 2, 3, is the 0.1 milliamps. Okay, example 2, we're going from volts to kilovolts. So we're going from the base unit. We're going to kilo, which is 10 to the power of 3. So therefore, we have to move the decimal 1, 2, 3 places to the left to get 1.5 kilovolts. So always remember that when you change the unit, you move the decimal, the quantity is still the same, but the unit is changed. You can't actually change the quantity. So as long as you keep that in mind, you should be good. All right, continuing on. Okay, we're going from 25,000 ohms, which you would never say. Okay, so it's kind of awkward. We're going to go to kilo ohms. So we're going from a base unit here to kilo ohms there. So move the decimal 1, 2, 3. Remember, kilo is 10 to the plus 3. So we have to move the decimal 3 places to the left, and you get 25 k ohms. Okay, so now we're going to go the other way. We're going to go from a larger unit to a smaller unit, which in this case is milli. So milli is 10 to the minus 3, to micro, which is 10 to the minus 6. So because a microampere is 1,000 times smaller than a milliamp, then we have to make this 1,000 times larger, which means move the decimal place 3 places to the right. Okay, we're going from mega ohms, 10 to the plus 6, down to kilo ohms, 10 to the plus 3. So we're going from a larger unit to a small unit. So therefore we have to make the number bigger. So move the decimal 3 places to the right. Example 6, we're going from watts, base unit of watts, to milliwatts. So the number has to get 1,000 times larger, because remember milli is 10 to the minus 3. So move the decimal 3 places over, and we get 865 milliwatts. Okay, example 7, we're going from, again, milliwatts, which is 10 to the minus 3, to the base unit of watts. So therefore the decimal has to go 3 places that way, because the watts is 1,000 times larger. Example 8, we're going from micro to milli. Micro is 10 to the minus 6. Milli is 10 to the minus 3. So therefore we're going from a small unit to a larger unit. Move the decimal 3 places that way to do the conversion. Example 9, we're going from k ohms, which is 10 to the plus 3, to the base unit of ohms. So therefore move the decimal 3 places to get 6,800 ohms. And example 10, we're going from we have 3 units here, quantities here. We have 5 k ohms, 2.1 k ohms, and 750 ohms. So just as a sort of standard rule of thumb, right? Express each quantity in a common unit, which in this case is either ohms or k ohms. So just to keep it consistent, if you're working a particular question and you have 3 resistances, in this case you could put them all in k ohms, or you could put them all in ohms. Pretty clearly, the best choice would be to put it all in k ohms. So the 5k would just bring down, the 2.1k will bring down, the 750 ohms will go to k ohms, so move the decimal 3 places that way to give us 0.75k, and then when you add it up, right, the value would be 7.5 k ohms. So you'll see that as we go along in class, constantly shifting units back and forth. Certainly you could convert the 5k and the 2.1k to ohms, but you're going to want to convert it to k ohms at the end anyway, so you might as well do it in the beginning. I think it's just easier and less chance of mistake. Okay, again, we have different units. We have millivolts, and volts. Again, to put them in a common unit, just looking at it, I would recommend using volts. So it'll be 0.25 volts. That 865, that should be volts. Sorry, that's a typo. And the 1.2. So anyway, we convert them all to volts. Would be 2.315. If we were to express that in millivolts, that would be 2,315 millivolts, which nobody would express it like that. This is clearly the best choice. So anyway, example 12, we have milliamps, amperes, and milliamps. Again, for a common unit, I think the best choice is amperes. So move the decimal 3 places. That'd be 300 milliamps is 0.3 amps. leave the 1.1 amperes as it is, and the 600 milliamps is 0.6, so you get around 2 amperes for the result. Okay, that's about it. Short and sweet. And if you're struggling with SI units, go back to this, watch this again. And if you still need help, then by all means, book a time with myself or whoever your professor is or a peer tutor. Just don't leave it, because the unit conversions are very important, and don't want you to get frustrated or get behind in any way. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon in class. All right, bye-bye.